Hello and welcome to the Will or Trust What's Your Plan podcast. I'm Terence Quinn, an estate planning attorney dedicated to helping families like yours secure their futures and protect their assets. Episode 8, Will or Trust What's Your Plan? Listen, this is a good episode because we're going to be talking all about property, rental property, investments, all of that stuff, and how does that work into estate planning? What's in my mind? As you come sit down with me and I realize you have your residence and an investment property or rental property, what immediately flashes through my mind and where am I going? That's what this episode is all about. As always, let me get into the book. Rental and investment properties pose unique challenges in estate planning. They are not only assets, but also sources of income, and their management can be complex. Using structures like the limited liability company, corporations, or placing these properties in trusts can provide flexibility and protection. Now, this is huge. I have a lot of clients who come to me and they own rental property, investment property, and they're really excited about it, as they should be. You should be excited about your rental property and your investment property. That's a great thing. You're building income, you're building wealth, you're benefiting from a tax perspective with your accountant helping you. You're doing all of that and it's exciting. Well, oftentimes I'll then ask, well, let me ask you a question. How do you own those properties? Are they in your name or how do you own them? Oh, yeah, they're in my name. I say, do you own them in any kind of business or anything? Well, no, I don't have them in the business. I just own them in my name. Well, that's great. That's fantastic, except that it's not. Here's why. Let's consider what happens if you own that other property. You own 2 additional properties in addition to your home in your personal name. And let's say on one of those properties, a tree fell on somebody and killed them. I know, but I'm the people are going to pass person. So let's talk about it. Let's deal with it. Tree fell on somebody and killed them. And they hired the best personal injury attorney in the state to sue you. And because you're the owner of that property, they sue you personally, as they should, because you own the property that caused their loved one's death. Well, you have insurance on the property. I can hear you thinking you have insurance on the property that covers maybe $300,000. Maybe you have a great insurance agent who told you to get an umbrella policy as well. So that's another $1 million on that property that you're covered. But they didn't sue for $1.3 million. They sued for $1 trillion. They didn't get that much. The state didn't authorize that much, but the state did give them a $10 million judgment for the death of their loved one. And because you own that property, yes, the insurance pays out $1.3 million. However, there's still 8.7, if my math is right. I didn't go to law school because I love math. 8.7 million that's still owed. And because you own that property, they collect that against the assets that you have, your home, your bank accounts, your brokerage accounts, other assets that you own, including that other investment property that you have. Let's say in an alternative world that instead of owning that property in your name, you put that property into an LLC. Let's just pick LLC for now. And the name of LLC stands for Limited Liability Company. It's probably created in part, or at least I probably recommended that to you in our meeting so that you could work towards protecting yourself from liability. And you set it up correctly. You didn't just do it yourself and file the thing and get the tax ID number. You took the right steps with your attorney to make sure it's fully set up correctly, and then you managed it correctly based on your attorney's recommendations. Same scenario, same 1.3 in insurance, same $10 million judgment and 8.7 million owed. The idea behind this plan typically is to make sure that they can't collect against the other assets that you own. Now, in some states, they're more lenient, more flexible with these LLCs, but in many states, if it was set up correctly and operated correctly, then you should be able to avoid them collecting the rest of that judgment against your personal assets. Now, you have to talk to your attorney about that. You have to find out how it works in your state, but that's something that I've used very often successfully for clients that I've worked with over the years. That's something that you want to do. Now, I hear somebody wondering, what about your residence, your primary residence? And we deal with this in that chapter 9 of the book. What about your residence? Typically, I'm not putting your residence into an LLC. I know we want protection and all of that. However, if we put that residence into an LLC, there are different protections that you may lose. There are different tax ramifications that you may have. I know in Michigan, if we do that, you lose your homestead exemption or your primary residence exemption if we do that. And we don't want to do that. So we typically will leave that in your name or put it in your trust for probate avoidance tools, earlier episode, remember that. But with the other properties, we'll probably be talking about putting those into LLCs, which raises another question, and I'm bringing this to a close. Should we put multiple properties into an LLC? Now, again, you got to talk to your own attorney about that, but typically with my clients, I make sure as much as possible we separate out the properties among various LLCs. And the reason is because, remember, $10 million judgment, 1.7 in insurance, 8.7 million owed. road and property A is where the tree fell, they can collect against that LLC and whatever it owns. So they can take property A. Probably I'm not going to be able to prevent that. But if you owned property B in that same LLC that owned the liability causing problem, then they can take that property B as well. And so oftentimes what I'll do, as the client is interested, is I'll say, let's put each one in its own LLC. And then they explore the costs around that and we decide, maybe we group them by twos if they have a lot of property. But I typically recommend separating the assets out because any asset in that same LLC is still on the hook for the problem causing property that's in that LLC. Just a little something to think about. This chapter is fun. Listen, this is not legal advice, of course. This is information, different strategies that I use. I want to make sure you know that and take that question to your attorney when you meet with them about your estate planning so we can make sure, you can make sure that you're protected correctly from that liability. Great stuff, you all. Thank you so much for watching episode 8 of Will or Trust. What's your plan? Get with your attorney. Let's take care of it. As you're listening, you might be wondering, what's the next step for me? If you're ready to start securing your family's future, head over to tquin25.com and book a free consultation with me. Together, we'll create a plan tailored to your specific needs. But don't wait. Your future deserves it. That's it for this episode of Will or Trust, What's Your Plan? I hope you found today's discussion valuable and are feeling more confident about your estate planning journey. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on more strategies to protect your legacy and your loved ones. Until next time, take care of what matters most.